Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Sitting In podcast. This is a conversation with athletes about real life. Today, we are sitting down with Kayla Canett. She was most recently, as you guys probably know, part of the USA Women's Rugby Sevens team that took bronze in the Paris 2024 Olympics. She is a two-time Olympian now, if I'm correct on that. Has some additional accolades in the Pan American Games and some NCAA titles in rugby as well, I believe. So I will turn it over to Kayla and have her introduce herself to the audience. Kayla, how would you introduce yourself?
I would say that I'm a San Diego born and raised girl. I am pretty much have been a tomboy since the day I could start picking out my own clothes and stuff like that. And I've just I'm a sports fanatic. I was even saying that I wanted to pick up cycling when I was done with this whole rugby thing. I know you guys.
No, I'm kidding. You would love it.
But yeah, I love the outdoors. I'm a pretty soft-spoken person, but once you get to know me, I'm probably described as the annoying little sister to everyone else around me. And I really love to get on people's nerves in a good way. But yeah, I would say I'm just an outgoing, chill person.
All right.
That's a great intro.
That is a great intro.
I love that. A lot of people always start, they're I'm a pro whatever, I'm a pro this. And I like the fact that you didn't even touch on that. I'm not sure if it's in frame, but can we?
Yeah, flash the metal. You got to see the hardware.
Do you bring it with you everywhere you go?
No. I actually am anti out there about being an Olympian and all that other stuff. How I didn't even mention pro rugby player. The only thing that I would say is I do have the Olympic rings.
You have to.
I have other tattoos. I have to have that one. But yeah, I've never necessarily been one to be look at me, look at these things that I've been able to do or that I am. And yeah, this has been sitting under my bed since we got home pretty much. I went and threw out the first pitch at one of the Padres games the other week.
Cool.
And that was the first time that I actually brought it out. And I threw the pitch and I was wearing it and it hit me right here in the funny bone. And I swear I think I had bone bruising from it. I was fuck. And limped over to the guy and shook his hand. But yeah, I'm pretty not shy about it, but I just don't feel the need to be look at me.
Interesting.
Yeah.
How did you, so let's just rewind all the way to the beginning here, right? So you started rugby when you were, 14 or something like that?
Yeah, 14.
Okay.
If I remember.
Why rugby? So from our perspective, me growing up, I never really had much exposure to the sport. I don't know if it's super popular in San Diego in particular. How did you stumble upon rugby?
So, like I said, I grew up a tomboy. Sports was everything. I played flag football for most of my childhood. And then when I got into junior high, so 7th and 8th grade, I played Pop Warner. And so I was out there tackling with the boys and getting hit pretty hard a few times. And so I obviously knew I wasn't going to venture into doing that in high school because even in 8th grade, there were some boys that, hit growth spurts and they hit you pretty hard. And so luckily, I'd never heard of rugby either until one of my PE coaches was the boys coach. And he told me to try out for you don't even have to try out, but to go see what it's about with the girls team. And we played touch rugby leading up to the season. And so I went out there in some basketball shorts, some some skateboarding shoes. I didn't even know how to put my hair up. And I was what's this? And we start playing and everyone was beyond welcoming and wanting to teach you the rules and whatever. And so I think that's what made me comfortable in the first place was like just how everyone like enjoyed it and loved it. And obviously, so then I signed up for that in my 8th grade year. And yeah, I literally have been playing almost nonstop since then.
So when you started playing, I guess, going all the way back to the beginning, this was not like something that you dreamt about. You had no like aspirations of a professional career in this particular sport at all, right? It was just like going out there and having fun. You found community in it. That's a really cool development. So when do you think it got, well, actually, first, speaking of the rules, can you give us like a rugby for dummies real quick? Because I feel like a lot of our listeners are probably going to have no idea. So.
All right. So when people first think of rugby, they think of like, the big, strong guys. And so usually that's like rugby. So there's 2 forms of it. There's 15s and 7s, 15v15, 80-minute game, 7s, 7v7, 14-minute game. Same field, same rules. So 15s is more of like a strategic, like technical game, like more of a, like you're playing chess out there kind of. Whereas 7s is just like chaos kind of. And like, it's, there's definitely still, differences in like body types out there. But for the most part, everyone has to, keep up at the same time. You have to be able to catch the fast people and tackle, the big people. And it's basically like football and soccer kind of combined, because you tackle, obviously, you kick it, you can only pass backwards. Okay. And it's just like nonstop until someone like makes a mistake or like, but even then 7s is like such a fast paced game. You're like pretty much going the whole time, and it's exhausting. And people are always like, "Oh, that's only 14 minutes long. Like that can't be hard." It's hard.
Yeah, the fucking can.
14 minutes full gas. Yeah, that's a lot.
I grew up when I was younger. My first exposure to rugby is I was on campus at UCSD, and it was a women's rugby tournament. And I was like, I have no idea what's going on, but this is super fucking cool.
Yeah.
I'm still kind of that way, to be honest. I watch rugby, and I think I finally now, like, I'm getting a hang of the rules. Every now and then something will happen. I'm like, well, I don't really know what's going on, but this is incredibly exciting. When did it start getting serious for you? Like, obviously, when you went out when you were 14, you were not like, I'm going to make a career of this. When did you like start to like, when did that perspective shift into being like, oh, I'm good at this. Oh, I'm really good at this. Oh, I'm like really, really good at this.
So it's kind of, the community within like Southern California is pretty big, and also Northern California. And so that's where the Fallbrook team, was really good back in the day and won like a lot of national championships and stuff, and had also people representing at like the U18 level. And so I think that exposure of seeing the other girls doing those different types of things was what made me not like, I wasn't immediately off the bat like, oh, I want to do that or whatever, but it happened pretty quickly within the first 2 years, because when the season's over, you go into summer and you have like all-stars or like select things, and I think I made that in my second year playing or whatever, and then basically, it kind of just goes from there. And I was getting picked for under 18 things. And then one of my old teammates, Rochelle, went to the 2016 World Cup. And that was just, I don't even remember what year I started, but just a couple years after like I started playing is when she, so then there was like that as well. That as well. And so I think it happened very quickly, in which that I started taking it seriously. Like, I think because I had a knack for it so early, that those avenues did open up for me. And so, yeah, I think within 5 years of playing, like by the time I was a senior in high school, I was like super serious about it. And then obviously deciding on where I wanted to go to play in college. And then in college was 2016, 2017, my first year. And I had like not a size growth spurt, but a rugby growth spurt. And I was like, and I had my 7s debut and 15 senior debut in the same like couple of months. And so I think that's where I was like, yeah, like, let's do this.
What would you say sets somebody apart as like a talented rugby player versus, you know, everybody else that's just out there on the field doing it for kicks, you know?
My family friend actually like kind of asked me this the other day, and I've always said it's just like doing the basics consistently well, and that could be for like everything basically. But like in rugby, you know, your pass, catch, tackle, kick, like that sort of thing. Just for me, I've obviously like one of the smallest people out there. I'm the smallest person on our team. And I've just always been a good passer, and like being able to have vision from like my basketball days kind of just set me apart in the sense that I was able to put people into the spaces that were then like breaking through. And I feel like growing up, I just watched like a lot of rugby as well. And so I think that helped grow my knowledge of the game. But yeah, I'd say just like someone that is like consistently like trying to improve and like do those small things well, and like not try to like, you know, go for all the glory or try to make a massive play, is the person that's gonna consistently do well on the field.
What did you go to school for?
I am actually still in school, and I'm getting my bachelor's in kinesiology. And so I went to Penn State first, and I did 3 years there. Then had to take, I was supposed to just take a gap year, and then to go to the last Olympics. And then because of COVID, it got all messed up.
Oh, so the 2021 Olympics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then I transferred to SDSU, and then literally so we did like a pre-Olympic camp in somewhere else in Japan before we went to Tokyo. And on the train ride to Tokyo, I got an email saying that my admission from SDSU had been rescinded because I didn't have a communications, like one singular class. And I was like, yes, I did. But then I was like, whatever, like I have something to focus on. So I didn't.
Got pro rugby to deal with. Yeah.
I can't focus on that right now. So I didn't really like try and fix it or anything. And at SDSU, you can only, transfer students can only go in the fall. So then push back another year. So that's, if my math's correct, that's 3 years off just because of like
one silly admissions mistake.
So then the following year, I finally went back to school, and it's just, I've been doing rugby in school at the same time. So it's like hard to, you know, have a full workload, that like most students would have. But yeah, so I'm officially graduating in May. And
congrats. Yeah. Are you excited?
Yeah, I'm so excited.
Right on.
It's been chaos. Even this year, I have 3 classes left. I'm taking 2 right now. One of them, the one that I'm not taking, the lab was at the same time as another class. So then I literally have to waste another 5 months just taking one class because it was at the same time.
Well,
so it's just like one thing after another.
What is your balancing school? So you were at Penn State for 3 years, right? Mm-hmm. And you were, I'm guessing, playing for, that's where you had NCAA championships, national championships there?
Yeah.
So when you were at Penn State, what did that balance look like for you for like studies and then like pursuing rugby? Because you were already kind of trending towards the Olympics at that time, right?
Not necessarily. So my freshman year, I had no balance, and I
that's a common issue.
Yeah, freshman year is.
I went to a lot of camps, so I'd get flown out here for camps and stuff. And then I was also working with the 15s team a lot then. So then that was a separate thing. And so I missed a bunch of school, and it wasn't good. And then so my second year, I was like, okay, I can only come during like my breaks and stuff. And obviously I was like playing rugby there still, but like not with the national team as much. So yeah, it was just a lot of learning and just figuring out what I could and couldn't do with trying to put school as much first as I could.
On the forefront.
But yeah, it's hard when, especially like when you're breaking into the scene, like you want to say yes to everything because you just want to take the opportunities that you get and you don't know when you're going to get another one. So that was, I mean, it did good for the rugby, but school, it didn't do so well.
Well, you have time for school, right? So yeah, maybe not with rugby.
Was school at all permissive of this stuff? Was it like, I feel like if I was a professor and someone was like, hey, I have to go play rugby for the national team, like this paper is going to be late, I'd be like,
makes sense.
Yeah, go do it.
And go do your thing.
Did you feel like you got any leeway?
Yeah, there were, for the most part, there wasn't like any teachers that were like, no, like you can't do that or you can't miss so-and-so. Like most of them were pretty cool about it. At Penn State, though, it was pretty funny because like all the Penn State athletes, like because rugby wasn't D1, so it was different, like missing for rugby than that. But then when it was for national team stuff, they still like, it wasn't like as easy as like if you were just a soccer player at Penn State, like they'd do whatever for them. So in that sense, it was like kind of like not as easy. But no one was ever like, didn't let me remake a test or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Did you ever have a time like going through this whole process where you were just sick of the sport? When you thought like, I'm over this, I don't want to do it anymore, it's too much? Or has this always just, you've always been so passionate about it that you quit everything else first?
I have loved rugby the whole time.
She's not like us in cycling where we think about quitting every day. So
every season, at the end of every season, I'm like, this was my last season. Yeah. I'm not doing this shit again next year.
There's definitely been specific like training blocks or like tournaments or stuff like that where I'm like, oh, like I just want to finish this and like restart or like reset. But yeah, like there's never been more than a couple of weeks where it was like, I've never wanted to quit or anything like that. So I'm very blessed in that way. And like, yeah.
Have your parents always been super supportive of your pursuits in rugby? And are they athletes themselves? Like, did they know anything about rugby to start? Or was this like...
So my mom and dad weren't like, they played like high school sports, but like that's about it. And neither of them, I don't think, knew anything about rugby. But my mom especially was just like, no matter what it was I was doing, she was just always like, just like do whatever you want. Like, and especially like the whole like tomboy thing and like that I wanted to play flag football and stuff. Like she never like told me or wanted me to be anything else than like I asked to be or that I was. And so I think that has like helped me like massively and just like being able to become who I am. And especially like with rugby, they like with camps and stuff like that, like she would send me to whatever camp that I wanted to go to, like for the most part. And so that I think helped just my growth and stuff in the sport.
Outside of school, outside of sport, what does your day look like?
I'm actually really lazy. If I
we call that recovery.
Yeah. We have a word for that.
Yeah. If I don't have, trainings or school. And like even today, I legit forgot what day it was. And I had class this morning and I woke up at 9:30 or 10 and I was like, oh my God, like I had class this morning and I just completely forgot about it. But yeah, I recently not recently, in the past few years, really love coffee. And so I'll just go to random coffee shops, do whatever. I love, I'm not like a big fashion person, but I do like clothing, and I like, trying to dress nice and stuff. And so I find like some passion in that. And I've recently tried golfing, which I really like, just because obviously right now, like I'm not good at it at all. And so it's like fun and I don't have expectations, but I'm sure once, I start having expectations, then I'll start, I don't know.
I feel like a lot of athletes that are really good at a particular sport, they either thrive in an environment where they're learning a new sport and they really love it, or they're overly critical of themselves. Where would you say you fall in that department? Because if you're picking up golf, it's a really tough sport. It's like golf is one of those, I feel like personally, that's really good to be mediocre at, or it's really easy to be mediocre at that sport, but then to be even remotely decent, it just takes so many hours and so much practice and time at the driving range. So do you get frustrated with not knowing something new, or are you the type of person that's like, I'm all in, I want to learn, I want to, get better?
I would say that when it's things that I don't know about, I'm like okay with not being good at it and like learning it. But then like when it comes to rugby, like I don't tolerate like that. like absolutely no patience for like mistakes or anything like that. But yeah, when it's just like other things, I'm not like anal about being bad at it.
Sorry.
No.
Can we get top 5 San Diego coffee shops?
Yeah, let's hear it.
Ooh. I like Communal.
Okay.
Well, okay, Moniker, I actually think would be my favorite.
All right.
Communal. I like James. Bird Rock, of course. I don't know if I have a fifth one.
Do you go to Scrimshaw?
I've never heard of that.
It's like over by SDSU.
What's it called?
Scrimshaw. It's on El Cajon, like just west of SDSU.
I'll have to try that one. Maybe that's number 5.
This should be number 5.
I recommend Dodo also.
Yeah.
Shout out Dodo.
We're going to tag all these people in.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I think that just like being busy with other stuff is probably a relief. I had a similar thing with a relationship with golf where I started out playing golf and I sucked at it like you do. Mm-hmm. And then when I got a little bit better at it, I got to the point where I started to care how I did.
Yeah.
And then I was like, fuck this. Because I like, when you can like be like, oh, I finished this hole with the same ball that I started, like success. And then I got good enough where I'd be like, triple bogey, unacceptable. Like, and then it stopped being fun for me. And then I'd quit and then I'd get bad again. And so I just like kind of did this. And then I haven't played golf now in 3 years.
So what was your college experience like? What was the difference between Penn State, SDSU? Do you feel like you had a true college experience being like at Penn State, being so focused on your training? Because obviously, so I guess what does a typical training day look like for you first? If you're, because I don't know necessarily how rugby practices and trains. Cycling
at Penn
is different.
State or like now?
Just in general, right? So you can give us the Penn State version of that, or the USA national team version of that. What does your kind of training schedule look like?
Okay, so at Penn State, we would have trainings like 4 times a week. Like 3, and then like you'd have like a run through before a game, which is super easy. But we would have lifts 3 times a week, and it would be like in the middle of the day. And there would usually be like 2 times that based on your schedule, like you could fit into.
But this wasn't like a 4 a.m. wake up call thing, or was it?
No.
Oh, okay.
Although we did have in the winter time, because obviously there it snows and stuff. We had this place called Haluba, which is the indoor field there, which is amazing. But obviously because we weren't a D1 sport, we had absolutely no priority or anything. So we would only be able to practice there at like 10 p.m.
Oh, wow.
And so like you would literally eat dinner, take a nap, and then like go to training and then go back to bed.
Get home.
Or we would have 6 a.m. trainings there. And I am not an early riser whatsoever.
That's hence the 9:30 a.m. today. Yeah.
But yeah, so we would have like a midday lift, and then you would have training at like 5 or 6 p.m. And so I actually took like a normal workload at Penn State. And so like you would have maybe 3 classes in the day that you just fit in between there. Games were always on Saturdays.
So no Friday night raging.
No Friday night, but Saturday nights for
Saturday night raging after the game.
yeah. But yeah, so I got like the full college experience at Penn State. I love Penn State, and sadly I have not been back there since, because it's like literally in the middle of Pennsylvania. So you'd have to, it's not like an easy place to necessarily get to.
You have to like fly into Pittsburgh and then drive 2 hours or something? Okay.
So I am sad that I haven't been there yet or been back. But yeah, like did every college thing, like go to the football games. Like that stadium is insane. There's so many people.
Yeah.
That I think it's like 80,000 or something like that
Holy
that fit into
cow.
there. But yeah, so I treat Penn State as like where I went to college, and then SDSU is just where I'm finishing. Like I literally go to class, leave.
So it's more of like a commuter school for you
Yeah.
then? Yeah. Okay.
Do people like that you go to class with? No. You don't like?
No.
It's like long sleeves.
Wait,
and-
that's actually crazy. So they have no idea that they're sitting next to you in class, and they have no idea that you just came back from the Olympics?
Yeah, no. And you'd be like, I have the tattoo on my arm, and obviously, like, I didn't get it for attention or whatever. But you'd be surprised how many, like only I could count on my hands, maybe the people that have come up to me and been like, "Oh, did you go to the Olympics?" And like, not just at school, like anywhere. So I think people like just don't ask or don't bring it up. But yeah, I literally just sit in my classes and do whatever.
I feel like after this Olympics, I feel like I saw women's rugby everywhere. That was like, I feel like obviously like I follow all like the cycling stuff, but outside of cycling, I feel like the only sport that I saw like a little bit about gymnastics,
Yeah, obviously.
like a little bit about swimming, and then all of the other stuff, all of the other media was women's rugby.
That's awesome.
Maybe that's just my feed, but
No, I saw the highlights too. Actually, I'm curious about something. So when at the end of the last game, right, in the bronze medal match, your teammate like just breaks away and goes nuts for 90 yards or something like that. What did that feel like for you? Because you're obviously in the game, right? And so
Yeah,
was that like a huge adrenaline dump or what?
Yeah, so I was subbed off by that point. But yeah, it was like
Because there's 20 seconds
Legit.
left or something?
something like
Yeah.
less than that. I don't even know. And we're like, our team is not very good at getting out of that zone of the field. And so you're just like stressed about that in the first place. You're not even thinking about someone like making that breakaway. But yeah, I think it was, and like, I don't even remember. I have not watched the game back since.
it's probably
we
good.
played
Really? Yeah.
But I don't even remember like what the score was at that point. But just like being able to like hold on to the ball and like make sure we don't get turned over, and then like they score or something. And so, you know, she makes the breakaway, and you can see people like chasing her, and you're just standing there and you're screaming, but you're also like not wanting to get too excited. And then, so she scores, and then it's funny that the cameras got this. I was like, we still need to make the kick. We still need to make the kick. And then, but like, there's some people that like are just like celebrating like we won. And so in rugby, you take the kick, like, so say the try line's right here. If you score, like, right in the middle, you get to take it straight back, or you take it straight back.
So that's why she dove under the goalpost.
Yeah.
So you could take the kick from the center. Okay.
But if you score out on the outside, you just take the kick from wherever you score straight back, just as far as you want to go.
Okay.
And so it was good that she scored in the middle because we didn't have like one of our actual kickers on the field, and no one like realized that. And I was like, we still need to make the kick. And then I wasn't, like, I don't even think the water, like we have 2 people that like run water. I don't even think they knew because everyone was celebrating and the clock's ticking down, and luckily
and you have to kick within time.
Yeah.
Oh, God. So it's tied. I think it was tied like 12-12.
Yeah, at the point. Oh, yeah, true.
Yeah.
At the point, it was tied 12-12. And someone somehow got the information to Spiff, the girl who scored, and she had, like, the ball was still, like, staying where it was, and everyone was, like, screaming, and someone threw it to her with, like, 5 seconds left for her to make it, and she just, like, kicked it, and, like, and then we won, and then I let myself be happy. But it's crazy because she's the one who kicks, like, if there's not a kicker on the field, but, like, the fact that we didn't even realize that there wasn't until it was, like, there's not a kicker.
Like, we got to do this right now.
And she's actually, like, 3 for 3 in, like, the kicks that she's made. Like, when
good time to be accurate at
never
kicking.
practices kicking. But, yeah, so it was just insane. And, that's, like, you can't even, like, imagine that happening. And it was just so crazy the way it all panned out.
So in the 2020 Olympics, which I guess took place in 2021, you guys took 6th or something like that?
Yeah.
So what was the difference in feeling to medal versus to go home with the 6th place finish?
I wouldn't say that the difference is necessarily in the medaling and non. It was that my role in the team was a lot different in both Olympics. Whereas in my first Olympics, I was a sub player and I only played 3 of the 6 games. And so it was like really hard mentally, just not feeling like I could contribute because I wasn't like getting on the field. Whereas this time I was a starter and I was like one of the leaders on the field. Like, I make the important decisions on the field when, plays stopped and we're like, what are we going to do? Like, I'm the one that makes that decision. And so I think I just had a lot more ownership of how we did because I felt like I contributed more. Obviously, I was heartbroken still, like, not doing well in the previous Olympics.
Yeah, it is a team sport in the end, right?
We win together, we lose together. Like, I stand by that 100%. It was just the ownership of, like, how I was contributing to the team that I felt like I was more proud of.
What do you feel like kind of allowed you to transition from being in sort of the sub role into like this decision making on the field? What was it that sort of set you apart or put you in the type of position where you would be the person that they lean on to do that kind of thing?
Well, we had different coaches. Like, I had a different coach in each one. And after the last Olympics is when our new coach came in, Emily. And she actually was one of my first coaches on like a all-star team thing.
Oh, no way. Like,
yeah.
When you were like
when
in
I
high
was
school
14,
age.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
there's
Okay.
a photo of like me holding the ball and her standing next to me, and like we're both like so young then.
Have you recreated it?
We should. Oh my God, I never thought of that. We should. But yeah, so it was cool to play under her again. And I think she just gave me a lot of confidence in letting me make mistakes. And and still like trusting me to like work through it. Whereas as a sub, you feel like there's no room for mistakes. But yeah, I feel like she just gave me the like ability to grow and gave me a lot more opportunities of failing than like I was previously allowed, which forced me to grow.
What's it like reintegrating into society after, like, you spent like what, like 3 weeks in Paris?
2. Yeah.
So you're just like in Paris for 2 weeks, and then like you just get back and you like got to go back to class on Monday?
Yeah. So, we did a week down in a place called Tours, before we went up to the Olympics.
Where is that at? Or like, what's the...
It was like a 3-hour bus ride.
Okay.
From
so
Paris.
that's Tour France, I'm guessing?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so that was really nice because we were with a few other teams, like the Irish women, Australia men, and Irishmen. And it was nice that we just like had that place to, acclimate to being back in France, but also be away from the energy of it all. But yeah, it is interesting coming back and just like going back to it all, especially because then we had a big break of like, we're still not back to training yet.
How does that feel, taking a break from training?
Honestly, really good.
Yeah?
This is the most time that I've not played rugby since I've started.
Oh, wow.
And it's been like a month and 2 weeks.
Okay.
So yeah, like when I say I've been playing since I started,
You've been playing.
Yeah, you're not joking around at all.
But yeah, the break feels good. I am like itching to like get back. Like I can feel my body. I've started like running and working out and stuff again, but I can feel my body's like not used to this. But yeah.
Do you just have like a ton of pent up energy? You're ready to go?
Yeah, I think I went too hard into the lazy, and I'm like really working, and it's like my body's like adjusting back fine to it, but I feel like I have like brain fog right now, and it's just like bogged down, and I hate it, and that's why I was like saying I want to be off social media and stuff, because I just want to get my brain freaking working again.
You don't feel like social media is making you any smarter then, right?
No.
Yeah, no. I don't think it does with many people, but...
Did you do a bunch of like social media during the games? No. You
didn't track anything?
I actually just posted some photos like before the Olympics, and the caption was, I was anti-Instagram before the Olympics, so here's all the things I would have posted if I was pro-Instagram. Yeah, I don't know. It's just like I didn't see it as a distraction necessarily. I feel like I don't know, it just didn't feel right to like, I was still on Instagram and I was still looking at everything, but something about me, I don't know.
How does that feel? So when you're in such like a spotlight, right, and there's just like so much attention and focus on just the Olympic Games, like the massive viewership that is watching every single sport, did you ever feel any kind of unique pressure from that and from socials and from all these different outlets, or were you able to kind of zone in and put blinders on and just play rugby and do what you needed to do?
I feel like I took advantage of the fact that this was my second Olympics and not feeling like I had to do all, because in the Olympic Village, like there's so much to do for the athletes. And it's like a really big space, obviously, because there's so much, many people there.
What kind of things are you talking about? Like just like networking?
Oh, like they had like a little beach club thing. They had like a whole nail salon and hair salon that you could go to. One of my teammates after the Olympics, there's like free like you can go to like the doctor and like just like get a check. Like I don't even know. She like got contact lenses or new glasses or something like that.
Some free healthcare action. Yeah.
Free
Step up, Olympics LA. LA 2028 better have free healthcare.
Yeah,
That's America. We'll charge them $12,000 for contact lenses.
Seriously. But yeah, and you could make like your own baguette.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Like a cooking class or?
It wasn't like a class, like you had to sign up for it. But yeah, you just like, the Irish girls did it and they like.
You didn't do it?
No, I didn't.
You didn't take advantage of any of this stuff? If there was one thing that you regret not taking
I did do my
advantage.
nails.
There you go.
Yeah. I got them done the day before we played.
Look good, you play good, right?
Yeah.
There you go.
And there are, like, I do wish some things that I would have done.
What was the biggest thing you missed out on besides the baguettes?
I actually didn't even see the Olympic rings, like, that everyone takes photos in front of this time.
Oh, wow.
Just because, like I was saying, like, it's so big, and I just, like, didn't want to take the time to be walking everywhere, like, just being on my feet and stuff. And so when I say, like, I used this time as just to try and focus as much as possible on, like, taking care of my body and making sure that I'm focused and stuff.
How do you maintain your focus, I guess, is a good question. Like, what is it that allows you to focus? Do you meditate? Do you, do cartwheels? Like, what's your jam?
What do I do? I play games on my phone, and I feel like that helped. Like, even before games, like, I'll play. We have, like, a set, like, schedule leading into a game, and, like, there's this period where we're supposed to do, like, our own individual stretching. And when I, like, do that, I, like, play my games as well so that I'm not, like, watching the other games going on. And I'm not worried about that stuff. I'm worried about winning my game.
What do you play?
I play Clash Royale.
All right.
And I used to do, like, solitaire a lot. So, and, like, before every game, like, I go on the stationary bike and I'll play solitaire. But yeah, I just, and I tried not to, like, watch too much of the other competitions as well, just to, like, regulate, like, my emotions and energy and, like, not getting,
Nervous or anything? Okay.
Well, I did watch, like, when the men played their whole tournament before ours, and so I did watch that. But yeah, I feel like I just tried to stay in my own little world for the time being while I was in the village.
Right on.
It looks like it's like a pretty social place though, right?
Yeah.
Did you like come home and you're like, oh, I got a pen pal in Kazakhstan. I got a buddy in Brazil.
That's funny you said Kazakhstan because my best friend, one of my best friends, it was born in Kazakhstan.
Oh, really? So you do have a pen pal.
Yeah. I got her a pin from them last Olympics. But yeah, it's like, especially at least with the Team USA, like we have a sports med area and like just a hangout area. And so like you see like everyone, like Simone Biles was in the sports med and you just are like, that's Simone Biles. And then you just like try and stay calm about it. But yeah.
Wait, so do you get starstruck by other Olympians that are,
yeah.
Okay.
Ran into Coco Gauff and she was just like, hey. And yeah, so like you just see each other in like the elevators and stuff and like ask them like, oh, when do you play or whatever, and like that's how it gets going. And we had Team USA had like our own training facility for like all the sports, whereas like other teams had to go to the training facility for like everyone. And so we would take buses there, and one of the times we were like sitting with the men's volleyball team and we got to talking with them, and so that was really cool. And we had like a dining hall it was only Team USA athletes, and so there's lots of moments for like interacting and making friends and stuff.
When you run into Simone Biles, when you like shake her hand, are you like, oh, who are you? Or are you just like
pretend like you don't know who it is? Yeah.
No.
Oh, you're a gymnast. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah.
I didn't personally go up to her. Although I did hear that she, before a competition, she doesn't like take photos with people. For like her own, like staying in her own.
Yeah,
thing.
that's her focus zone thing. She's probably playing Clash Royale too.
But yeah, you just like if you run into someone, like say hello. But like, I would say most people don't like. They like know. Not like your place, but like just respectful of their, like they're here for a competition too and stuff like that. But like, obviously if you're like, oh, hey, like, how are you? Like that sort of thing, it's fine.
Who are you most starstruck by?
We saw, Simone, but we saw when we were checking in Rafael Nadal, which was really cool. I'm not really like a tennis person, but he's just
do you like tennis
a legend.
Yeah.
That one was pretty cool. But yeah, we didn't get to do the opening ceremonies because we played 2 days later, so it just wasn't good for us.
Yeah.
But some people went down and like saw all the NBA players and WNBA players, and they were all starstruck by them.
What's the so I guess post Olympics now, when you go back to training, is your goal 2028 Olympics? Are you going to keep going? Is this like
Yeah, I definitely. So because I was telling you guys my school got messed up, I'm going to play like this next season and then hopefully take the following year off just because, like I said, I've been playing for so long and I do want to keep playing. Like I'm not by no means done playing, but I think I just want to like reset and like,
try new things, explore.
I actually want to play rugby league, which is like a whole. It's still rugby, but it's like different rules. It's like completely different than what 15s and 7s is rugby union, and then rugby league is like its own thing.
What's the key difference?
What is the key difference? I still don't even like how you guys are about rugby. That's how I'm about that. Like I watch it, but what is it? It's more like football in the sense that you have 5 tackles.
Okay.
And so it's basically like you use the first like 3 tackles to just like go forward and like you try and condense them a little bit and then use either the last 2 or like the last one to play and then you have to kick on the last one. Mm-hmm. And it's 13 people instead of 15 or 7. But yeah, and there's other like rules and stuff like that, but whereas rugby, you can go for as long as you have the ball, but that is like, you have to then kick back. And so it's more of like a break
5
them
downs,
down.
back and forth.
Yeah.
Kind of NFL-esque, I guess.
Yeah.
Well,
Outside of rugby though, what do you want to do? Like what's
the goal with kinesiology?
Yeah, I don't really know. I took a biomechanics class at Penn State and we had a lab for it and I like really enjoyed that and like connecting the science with like it was kind of like sport based. So maybe like getting into like some sports science like role like in a lab somewhere. Like there's so many things that you could do with biomechanics and like for example like running shoes, like engineering like running shoes to make them faster or whatever. I feel like that so far has been the thing that I've been most like into. But yeah, I'm not 100% sure. I definitely want to use the degree. Like I love the body and I love learning about it and like especially connecting it to like now like when my teammates get injured I like look at it from like a brainiac like view and so yeah, I'm not 100% sure.
Do you want to like stay in the sports space? I feel like now that, I mean, you've gone to 2 Olympics, I feel like that's a pretty heady thing to like put on a resume. Have you ever like wanted to pursue something else like coffee, fashion, go like off and branch off? And
I've never really thought about branching off like that. Like I said, I wanted to get into like cycling when I'm done, but obviously I'm not necessarily like, I want to go pro in cycling. But yeah, I feel like right now my like actual like tangible passions are, sports science and sport. And so just being able to find a way to like connect those two, I think is what I really want to pursue.
How often do you get injured? Because I feel like you probably have to work through a lot of like minor injuries and stuff, right? It's just so much contact in rugby, right? What's like the worst situation you've been in injury-wise?
I actually have not gotten injured very much.
Knock on wood. Yeah.
I tore my like first actual injury. I tore my meniscus in 2017. And then I was only out for 6 or 7 weeks. But I actually now have arthritis from it. And I actually just got an injection on Wednesday for it. So it's held up pretty well since that long ago.
Did you have to get it repaired?
I just they cut it.
You don't really need a meniscus anyway, right?
Yeah. Sort of.
One of those four.
So that's like been like I've never gotten like injured from it again, but it's like cranky a lot. I broke my nose one time, and I didn't.
Did you have to have surgery on it?
No, they just
put it back.
It is a little crooked now, though.
Don't worry, we won't tell anybody.
Yeah.
And what else has happened? That's it.
How did you break your nose?
I have a video I can show you later. I got tackled, and then I was going to present the ball back, and someone was running, and they like tried to like go over me, but they actually just kicked me in the face with their shin. And so I was like this, and it went like, and I didn't even know, like I just knew that I was bleeding, and I was like, oh, like a lot of pressure to the face, and then I just
turns out it was broken.
Yeah, I just got it popped back in place afterward.
Do you enjoy the physical aspect of rugby? Like, is that something that you are stoked on? Is like hitting people? I feel like, I don't know, like growing up playing football here and there, it's like, when I was really young, I struggled with that. But then like once I hit like 7th, 8th grade, suddenly I was like, I love hitting people, it just clicks. Yeah. I wonder why, but yeah. But no, I don't know. So I just wonder rugby players, do you have that innate like thing where you're just like, you want to hit people?
Yeah, I think you have to really, well, maybe not necessarily enjoy it. I mean, to a certain extent, enjoy it, like getting hit and like tackling people. In sevens, there's definitely big collisions, but they happen a lot less just because you're tackling with so much space.
Just less people on the field, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so, like, you still get stoked when you, like, make a really good tackle, but it's not that you're, like, making this huge tackle. It's just more of, like, a technical tackle. Mm-hmm. Whereas in 15s, that's when you get the big hits. And I feel like back when I was playing 15s, like, that's where you could do, like, a double tackle or something, and that, like, really gets you going. And
somebody stands somebody up and you come flying in. Oh, man.
And so I feel like, I mean, just, like, whether it's me making a good tackle or someone else, like that really does like get the adrenaline going, and like then you want to like do the same thing. So yeah, I definitely do enjoy the contact aspect of it all.
Do you feel like rugby's growing?
Yeah, I mean, I really hope so. My teammate Alona, she is like legit famous now. She's done an absolutely incredible job of just showcasing like what rugby is and like all the amazing things about rugby. And so I think definitely, I mean, she's got a worldwide audience, but in the US, I feel like there's so many clubs that have like grown because people are like, "Ooh, I want to play rugby because I saw Alona post a video about it." And so I think in that sense, like it's growing, especially for, women and girls. But yeah, I think it's growing.
I just feel like as people who play like C-ranked sports, I feel like rugby has like kind of sat in this like, it's not like the usual ball sport that you play in like the States. And I feel like this Olympics, this is like, I feel like probably a lot due to Alona, is I feel like it has like migrated from a like second tier American sport to like, it is now in the first tier.
Yeah.
Do you have any goals yourself with anything that you might want to do to get more like young women involved in the sport? Or do you see like gaps now that maybe like haven't yet been filled? Or like maybe just like knowledge gaps, right? Do you think there's anything that you guys can do to just bring more awareness to the sport? Outside of social media is obviously really helpful, but...
Yeah, I think there's plenty of avenues specifically in San Diego since we're here, and like being involved in the community of it. And I think I could definitely do a better job of that, of like personally going out there and like helping it grow, and just like in the grassroots of rugby. And yeah, I think just like actually like doing actionable things, like being present in that sense, definitely has room for growth.
Have you guys as a team had any like outreach stuff or like gone to hang out with any like clubs in the area or just like other local areas? I mean, I know you said you threw out the first pitch at the Padres game, which is really cool. Any other, I guess, big key moments since you've been back that have been exciting?
Not since we've been back because like we're just all over the place.
Yeah.
But like we've done like school visits before, and we have like not as a team, but like there's a small group that goes to this one school and does like after school like rugby with them. Just like as they're not actually like playing, but just like touch rugby and teaching them the skills and getting them knowledge about it. And they do that like, well, I don't know if they're doing it right now, but it's like a 12-week program or something like that. And I know a couple of the men's players coach some of the high school boys teams. So yeah, I think there has been moments where as the team, we've gone out into the community and brought awareness.
We've had a couple women on here who talk about the fact that they often feel like they are, because they're like women in like a male dominated field, that they feel tired of feeling like they have to be ambassadors for the sport or ambassadors for women in sport. Where do you sit on that? Do you feel like you have to like be constantly carving out a space for yourself? Do you feel like, where do you feel on all that?
I feel like I don't put myself out there really, and I wish I would more. But I don't feel like necessarily that we were the ones responsible for that. I'm not really sure.
That's a good answer too.
Fair.
I just always, obviously, like we come from a cycling background, and I think that cycling is like a ultra mega boys club. Like, get ready. And a lot of people that we've talked to have been like, yeah, well, it's like, for men, like we get to show up, we get to race our bike, and then we get to go home. But there is like a lot of pressure on women in sport to like grow. We need to grow the sport, where in a lot of ways, like, you know, the women who are pro cyclists don't get to just show up and race their bike and then go home. Yeah. They're expected to like do outreach in a way that like their male counterparts aren't expected to do.
I could see that. Yeah.
Do you feel like that's something that you are like, do you feel like, man, like how come the dudes aren't pulling their weight?
Advocating for the sport as a whole?
Yeah, I've never actually, I probably have thought about that before, but yeah, it is interesting that obviously for male-dominated sports, like, I mean, even with soccer, just like the fact that they still have to like try and like advocate for, you know, themselves and just girls playing soccer is still pretty crazy. So a sport like rugby, like we're still definitely on the climb. But I feel like the people that really are connected to that, like enjoy that and enjoy being the people that are the ones putting it out there and stuff. And it's even like an identity of our team as a whole. Like we want to bring awareness to rugby and we want to show people, like we want them to not support, but like because of who we are as people and stuff, to bring them into the sport and enjoy it, whether it's watching or playing, like because of who we are as people and stuff like that, and how we, you know, work for each other on the field and how we are as a team. I feel like that's our way of trying to get people to be involved in rugby in one way or another. I feel like that's how we as a team have approached that.
Do you feel like you've been offered a lot of unique experiences because of rugby? Because, I mean, you're traveling all over right now. You've done, like, the Pan American Games and then, like, 2 different Olympics. Do you think you would have traveled as much if it hadn't been for the sport itself? Because I feel like, obviously, you know, you're talking about expressing yourself through kind of the community of the team and everything, but I feel like sports so often give people just really great opportunity to see the world, sort of learn about other cultures and people and individuals, and rugby's popularity in other countries like, you know, Australia, New Zealand, and some of those places it's very popular, right? So it always makes me wonder if you just have like a unique perspective on life because of the experiences that you've had through this particular sport. Do you think that that's true, or do you think that?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, because we have a World Series, so like our season is like the first week of December till May, and we go to 8 different places in the world. And so I think, and we're traveling with like the same groups of people for the most part. The same like 12 teams go to each stop. And so you get to know people from other countries, and you get to, you know, just getting to talk to them and seeing what they're about. And then usually when you go to their country, like you have friends all over the world. And I think definitely I would never have traveled to as many places as I've been without rugby. Like, obviously, because it's all paid for. Like, I don't have to pay for it.
That helps, right?
But like the season always ends in France. And so then everyone gets to have a Euro summer, basically, like, because you just have to pay for your flight back home instead of 2 flights. And so just in that sense, like, being able to have more access, you know, to the world, I'm so grateful for, like, the ability that and the places that we go. And I think I definitely have a far greater awareness of the world than if I've just been in, you know, California or America in general. Just like going to another country it opens your mind greatly, especially the different places that I've been.
What do you think the most unique or different thing that you've learned from experiencing all that is? Is there any particular lessons that stand out?
Particular lessons.
The high pressure questions.
Shoot, I don't know.
Any cultures you've experienced that you were kind of shocked by or that you found interesting?
Oh, well, one culture that I find interesting is South Africa. We go there every year to Cape Town. And that's a lot of people's favorite spot on tour, like out of all the countries. And I think we're like right in the city and like you just really get to immerse yourself in, I mean, to a certain extent.
Yeah, you're there to play rugby, right?
And just also seeing, like, they love rugby so much, and from coming from America, like, people, like, even the hotel staff and stuff, like, they're so excited to be there and to be working with us and helping us, and just, like, knowing where they're coming from and stuff and how excited they are that we're there, and it just makes you really grateful for that you're like playing rugby in another country. I feel like I feel like I just have a lot of gratitude for the life that we do get to live. And sometimes you get lost in that because, you know, we're there for a competition and, you know, you want to be playing good rugby and you want to be winning. But like there's just still so much more about what we're doing that's super important as a person.
And how old are you right now?
26.
You're 26? Okay, so do you think that you've traveled more than the average 26-year-old? You've been all over. So you go to South Africa. What are some other stops that besides your Euro summer?
Yeah. It's Dubai, South Africa, Australia. It used to be New Zealand, Spain, France, Canada, U.S. is one of the stops.
Where do you guys play in the U.S.? Just curious.
Up in L.A.
Cool.
At the
Galaxy Field or something?
Yep.
Okay. Those are arguably all the coolest spots that you can possibly go to play sports too.
Yeah.
Yeah. There are a lot of options out there, but I feel like that's a great list.
Yeah, Ireland. When I was with Penn State, we would go on spring break and go to a country and play rugby, and we did Wales. And
cool.
So, like, I would never go to Wales, like, just as, you know, like, I wouldn't pick that, but, like, just being able to have these experiences and, you know, you play against teams from there. And with rugby, it's a big community sport, and, like, it's, like, whatever happens on the field, whatever, like, then afterward, like, you're friends. Well, for the most part.
We won't ask about that.
Yeah.
But, like, it's just such a good, like, community, like, to be a part of. And it's just wherever you go and play rugby, like rugby players they're good people.
Pretty laid back folks.
Yeah.
I feel like it's also, you get this kind of like weird, unique, like as an American rugby player, because everywhere else in the world that rugby gets played, I feel like it's a much bigger deal than it is here, right? Like South Africa loves its rugby, New Zealand, Australia, the UK. So it is like kind of this funny thing where they, I think like probably like live in that a little bit more. Do you feel like it's nice to be able to like pop in and then pop back out?
Yeah. Although, yeah, to a certain extent, I do wish that it was more like appreciated in America. Just because like I love it so much, like I want other people to enjoy as well. And I think that's one of the cool things about sevens is like you guys were saying, like you don't really know what's going on, but because it's only a 14-minute game, it's just like, oh, this is happening. Like it keeps you like engaged in the game. And I feel like that's such a cool thing about rugby sevens is like, it's just, it can like bring you in and, you know, you don't have to really know necessarily what's going on.
When you were so when you were younger, like before you started playing rugby, you said you played basketball and you were doing like touch or flag football and things like that. And then you played Pop Warner, right? So did you ever have a desire to play other sports? Like, did you think that basketball was maybe going to be the thing? I mean, I know you said some of your vision for the field and the way things play out comes from that. Did you think that maybe, like, what was it hard for you to leave those sports and then transition to rugby, or was it just like suddenly you were doing the thing that you were meant to do?
Yeah, I think so obviously with like, I also played soccer growing up. But like soccer and basketball in this country, like as a young age, people are playing on like travel teams and stuff like that. And I never did that. And I don't really know why. Like we were a military family, so up in Camp Pendleton. So I just played like in those leagues, and it's like those aren't anything big or crazy. And I played flag football, basketball, and soccer there. And then I was like in junior high. So I don't know. So I feel like I feel like rugby just came in at the right time. Like,
just like the perfect intersection of when you were like kind of transitioning out of these other sports, going into like that junior high, like high school age. And then it just came along and it was like, oh, this is the thing.
I feel like I probably never played those other sports competitively because something else was waiting for me down the line.
Do you think mentally there's something that, so a lot of people are athletes that kind of find their cap or their ceiling, right? Do you think there's anything mentally that drives somebody beyond sort of that typical cap or ceiling of just being like, all right, I know you said doing the small things consistently is really a big driver in that, but do you think that there's like some level of grit and determination that maybe a lot of your teammates or other athletes that you meet that are at the Olympic level have that a lot of folks don't? And is there things that like maybe the general population of athletes, is there anything that they don't necessarily understand about like the difference between like when that thing clicks and you're like, okay, this is like, I'm a professional at this thing, right? Is there some sort of separation there that you found mentally, or like something that you realize in your teammates or other people or other athletes that sets them apart from the general athletic crowd?
I feel like it's just like a intangible like obsession to like everyone in some form or another is like obsessed about some aspect of it, whether it's like wanting to be the fittest person out there. Like I have one of the girls on my team, Nicole, she's like one of the fittest people that I freaking know. And like, it's then like, because we're all so competitive, and it's like obsession and like competitiveness, but not necessarily like wanting to like do better than her, but like wanting to like push each other. And I feel like that's what helps, I guess, specifically in like the people that I know, having people to push you and to be pushed by you really helps like complacence or like not being complacent. But then also there's the people who are more just like the obsession part and like wanting to like be the best that they can be, and like they don't have to be motivated by, you know, other people. And yeah, I feel like those two, obsession and competitiveness, are what like makes a professional like stay in that top tier like zone.
It's funny, we've talked to like now a handful of professional athletes, and it is funny that the reoccurring theme that we see in, or at least I've seen, is you ask people who are there, what do you do outside of rugby? And they're like, wait for the next practice. It's like, or, you know, for like the cyclists or the runners that we've talked to, where people are like, you know, there'd be moments where I'd be like trying to grill someone on like, no, but like, what does the rest of it look like? And they're like, there is no rest of it. Like, this is it. Do you feel like that's Do you feel like that's you?
To a certain extent, yeah. I feel like I'm very consumed by rugby, and obviously like this past month and some change has been the most that I've been removed from it. And like it's felt good, but it also feels like wrong in a way. Like I feel like I should be playing again. And when we're like in season and stuff, it's like one tournament ends and like you just want to go to the next one. But then also you're like, well, I want to fix all the things in practice and stuff. I definitely am consumed by playing rugby. So I would say I am in that range
camp
of people.
Has this month and a half changed your perspective at all on anything?
Yeah, do you feel that you need more time for like R&R and relaxation and stepping away, or do you wish you had more of that?
Sometimes I do feel like I don't have time to like even like take a breath. Just because like sometimes I wish I could just like press pause and just like decompress my body. Both mainly like mentally, and then like go back into it. And so I feel like sometimes it does just get overwhelming. Like, you know, we're practicing so hard, and I also have school going on at the same time, and other outside things that just like bring a lot of stress. And so in that sense, I do wish that there was more time, but I also know that is probably because I'm not spending my time wisely. And so I do wish that...
Trying to do too many things at once.
Yeah. And I wish that I took more time for I think this month has made me realize that I do need to spend more time and put more importance on doing that R&R time and the time that I have, rather than just like rotting on my phone or like watching TV or something like that. Like being intentional with like my rest.
Well, it's not just me who's rotting on my phone.
I think a lot of people rot on their phones. Yeah, I do it more than I'd like to admit also. So I want to talk more about something you touched on earlier, fashion. What's your latest fashion inspo? What are you into right now?
What are the trends? What's in?
What are the trends? Okay, well, this is not necessarily a trend, but with fall coming up, I've been dying for a pair of loafers for like years. And I bought some, and like, I think it was 2020. And then I bought them online and they didn't fit me. And then I bought another pair and they didn't fit me. And then I gave up. And then, because I just feel like the loafer, like, maybe if I went up to LA, like I could go in a good store and like find some good loafers. But I feel like in San Diego, I can't really do that. But so right now it's my fall mission. I just told to my best friends this today to finally buy myself a pair of loafers. So I think that's what I'm most excited for. But I also love I'm also been into sweaters and like knit sweaters.
Knit sweaters?
Yes. And I have this really cool like cobalt blue one that I love. And Ralph Lauren's the sponsor for Team USA.
Shout out Ralph Lauren.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I know Ralph.
You could send me
He's
some
just
clothes.
Ralph.
Yeah, he's just Ralph to me. But
And they, in one of the stuff we got, it's like this knit sweater, navy blue with like a USA flag, and the little RL on the bottom. And I was like, yes.
Super secular.
So yeah, I feel like, especially going in the fall, I feel like the sweaters and just like jackets and stuff like that. So it sucks that, you know, I love living in San Diego, but like I barely get to wear that sort of stuff. So I think those two things are what I'm really most excited about coming up.
Sweater weather and the pair of loafers.
Loafer.
All right, so if anybody has loafer recs, drop them in the comments. Yeah.
What are you looking for in your loafers?
I I don't want them to be too chunky, but not too slim as well. I definitely like the tassel look.
Ooh, okay.
But I don't know. See, and then it's hard because there's so many different like kinds of loafers.
So Gucci horse bit.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, or like penny loafers. You put the little penny in there. And so I feel like, I don't know, like, do I go with something like statement loafer or for my first pair of loafer, or do I just go with like
A daily.
basic daily loafer? So I don't know. Do I buy 2 pairs of loafers?
The loafer dilemma.
I have a friend who his dad is like a kind of eccentric guy. And he went out one day and was in a similar position as you and was like, I need a pair of loafers. And he tried on a pair of the Laurel Peony walkabout loafers. And he was like, these are it. Like, this is all I've ever been looking for. And he went out and bought them in every color. And he owns 24 pairs of Laurel Peony walkabout loafers. So
When you find the thing,
yeah, when you find the thing,
you
Stick
know.
with it.
Yeah.
So now you have 2 good loafer recs from guys who clearly don't.
My loafers are in the closet, dude.
What do you have?
There's just like some random loafers I bought forever. They're beat to hell too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they've lasted. I think the sole's coming off, but I'll still wear them.
I'm also not looking forward to breaking in the loafers. Like, I know that's going to be
Yeah,
a
you're gonna
bit.
blistered up and all that jazz.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you gonna wear them with socks? I feel like that's a big debate in the loafer community.
You could do the MJ white sock black loafer swag. Yeah.
I think there's definitely, obviously, you'd have to get a quality pair of loafer to not wear socks, which I do want a quality pair. So I think there's a time for socks and there's not a time for socks.
A nuanced
So-
answer.
Yeah. What's
So-
your sock appropriate time versus?
Well, like if you wear them with shorts, I feel like you should probably be wearing like an ankle sock. Like, yeah, maybe like a white ankle sock. Or if you're wearing them, like probably with these linen pants, I probably wouldn't wear socks. But if you're wearing them with like, what would it be?
Do you do like the
dress
loafer
pants?
cuff jean type thing? Okay, dress pants.
Dress pants, although I wouldn't be wearing dress pants. I feel like that's a time where you would wear socks with your loafer.
I feel like you should be able to leverage a loafer sponsorship.
Yeah. All our loafer people out there,
Yeah.
what's up?
I feel like that should be in the cards.
The big
They didn't
loafer
give you-
conspiracy is.
Yeah. Ralph Lauren didn't give you any loafers for the games. They
All right,
give you
Ralph.
all that stuff.
I'm gonna give him a call.
Yeah, we'll reach out to
Let's
Ralph
call
personally.
New York City Ralph.
Yeah.
So I have a friend who he went to the Paralympics in Tokyo, and he was talking about the fact that he's like, dude, I have so much shit. What can we like go through highs and lows of the swag bag?
So in the last Olympics, I was not like a Ralph Lauren fan. I don't think I had like matured in that way yet. And so it's like more like the Nike stuff. But I feel like this time Nike wasn't like very creative with what they like came out with. And so that was kind of boring. But I've been really, like when I went golfing, I wore one of the other ones of these. And so I really love these shirts. And the closing ceremony jacket is a Ralph Lauren jacket. And it looks like a Ricky Bobby like race car jacket. And
That's
so
pretty
that one's
sick.
pretty sick. But it's also like USA in your face. And so it's like you can't necessarily, it's not like an everyday jacket, which is, kind of bummer. But it is very cool. Yeah, and the shoes, the Nike shoes, were a lot more like you could wear them around and they don't look like in your face. But last time they were like these like moon boot looking things. And so I've never worn those
Those
ever
have sat
again.
in the closet. Yeah.
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 So yeah, there's definitely some like really good ones and some like, no, you can only wear those at the Olympics.
I feel like the thing that's always like with like the Team USA gear from the Olympics, because I saw this with my friend Cody, is that he's like, yeah, man, like I'd love to wear this polo places, but there's like the Olympic rings on it
Yeah.
is this big. The like or I guess it's like because the Paralympics has like a different logo.
Okay.
But it was like, he's like, I don't know. I feel like if you wear like a Team USA polo into Trader Joe's, people are going to be like,
Yeah.
what's up with that?
Hey, yeah, tell me about that.
Yeah, that's why I wore a different shirt when I came here because
Sneaking in.
I went to a coffee shop and just like sat there for a little bit, and I didn't want to be like, it's just so in your face sometimes. Like there's definitely clothing items that they give us that it's like
You could appropriate
nice.
them.
Yeah, pretty muted.
But like some of them are like really like USA.
Yeah, which is not always the vibe.
The vibe. Yeah.
Is there an interesting sense of like nationalism? That's not the right word there. I gotta be careful about that. Is there like a weird sense, of like being stoked on your country that happens at the Olympics, like in the village? Is everybody kind of just like, my country's the best? Or like, is it more like, because in sports like the NBA, for example, right? It's like you have such a multinational group of individuals who play in the NBA in the first place. And then when it comes time for the Olympics, they all split up and go to other teams, right? Rugby, I would imagine you guys, it's probably not quite the same dynamic, or is it to where you have a lot of international players on the team that you play with regularly, and then suddenly it's like national team all comes together? It's not that way, right? It's like national teams always.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in the 7 sphere, it's like you're always with your national team, whereas in like the 15s, they actually have like clubs that they play for that are more mixed international, and then they go and play with their international teams. So like with my team, like the 7s teams, we're like pretty much always like our country, like, but definitely at the Olympics, it's like to another level. Like you just sit down and like watch a sport because it's it's a USA
Team
person
USA.
playing or whatever, competing. And yeah, just it's like it's an insane thing feeling so connected to like a group when normally you don't really get that.
Yeah, there's definitely like there's like obviously like there's the rugby team, but then like bigger than that, there's
Team
like
USA.
Team USA.
Yeah.
Did you end up like watching any like real? Because every time I watch the Olympics, like every Olympic cycle, I end up watching a sport that I'm like, I had no idea this was a sport.
Cross country, like horse jumping.
Or do
Crazy.
the kayak slalom?
That was what I was gonna say. Like the canoe kayak thing. I've never seen that before, and that was very cool.
Did you watch any of these in person?
No.
Oh, okay. So you're just
But-
mostly on the.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you could be on one other Olympic athletics team, like if you could like wake up tomorrow and you were not a rugby player but something else, what would you be?
What would I be? I mean,
Cross country horse jumping. No, I'm just kidding.
honestly, like BMX is like pretty cool.
Freestyle or racing?
Freestyle
Ooh.
would be cool, or like skateboarding. I skateboarded a bit when I was younger, but then stopped because I was like, I can't get hurt for my sports.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
But that's definitely very cool. I think like a like adrenaline sport like that, or like snowboarding, I think is something that would be very cool to be good at.
Go from one adrenaline sport to another.
Yeah, it's just extreme sports, chaining them all together.
Yeah.
I want to ask you about kind of, I think more specifically, like, so rugby sevens, this is the first, back to kind of the actual like thing of the Olympics and your medal. You guys as a team are the first U.S. rugby sevens team to ever medal at the Olympics, right? Do you know how long rugby's been in the Olympics as a sport?
So there was 15s was in the Olympics, like in, I think we won on the 100th anniversary
Okay.
of when that team won.
Very cool.
And it was the men's 15s team. But then it was like out of the Olympics after that, or maybe it was in like a few others. But it hadn't been back into the Olympics in like a really long time until 2016. So I've been in 2 of the 3 sevens Olympics, which is very cool. But yeah, it's pretty cool to be. So it's New Zealand, Australia, Canada, USA, and Fiji are the only women's teams that have won a medal at the Olympics for sevens. So
It's a pretty short list.
yeah.
What does that feel like to be part of that?
Wait, did I say Australia too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. It's very cool. I mean, it's bringing it back to connecting it to like Team USA. It felt so cool, like, because they're always putting up like the medal count thing.
Yeah.
And it felt so cool, like contributing to Team USA's success, not just like success for us in USA Rugby. So that was like we were just as good as like some swimmer, you know, getting a medal for Team USA.
I think Simone Biles got a bronze this year, didn't she? I think she got one.
In one of her things. Simone Biles and me are the same.
There you go.
Basically.
Same person.
But yeah, I think that was definitely cool to contribute.
What's it like having a Wikipedia page?
I was just on the phone with my dad. My mom and dad are now divorced. So him and my dad and my little sister live in Alabama now. So I was on the phone with him yesterday, and he was telling me how my sister Mackenzie was looking at my Wikipedia page the other day, and her and her friend were like on the computer or something, and her friend was talking about how her older brother's cool or whatever. And she was like, my sister has a Wikipedia page, and they like Googled it. But yeah, so I think it's just so funny that my little sister can Google me.
Are you close with your little sister?
Yeah, she's great. Mackenzie, I love her. I gave her her middle name, so I'm very happy with that.
What is it?
Harper, Mackenzie Harper.
Who wrote your Wikipedia page? Do you know?
Oh, no idea.
That's cool.
Yeah. I actually think one of my best friends changed my weight on there or my height on there. So I think if it's still changed, she did that. But yeah, I don't know who.
Wait, what did she change it to? Something crazy?
Yeah, something like really overweight or really tall.
It's like 350 pounds, 6 foot, 350.
I'd love to have a Wikipedia page one day.
I'll make you one.
I don't think you can.
They'd probably be like, no.
They'd be like, no.
Not notable.
I feel like that's like a real sign of success. Like bronze medals are cool.
Yeah, but the Wikipedia page.
The Wikipedia page, that's super forever.
Well, the Wikipedia page happened before the
Bronze medal.
Yeah.
Do you know when it happened? Did someone like text you and be like, you're on Wikipedia?
I don't remember how I found that, but it was quite a while ago. And yeah, it's really cool also just because like I remember like one of the times, I forget why I Googled myself.
We all do.
But then
We all
like
Google
going
ourselves.
to photos, and then I see photos of myself that I've never seen before, which is also really cool.
What was like the first like bit of, I guess, notoriety that you sort of had? Like, was there a moment where I guess you felt a little more recognized than you realized you were at the time? Was it kind of that Wikipedia page moment? Or like, what was the real life Wikipedia page moment where it's like, you know, you get recognized or you just feel like maybe you're a little bit more notable than what you thought you were?
Really haven't had many of those experiences.
I mean, you're incognito in class, which is nice, but yeah.
I think it was after the last Olympics at my rugby club from high school. My face got added to this poster of when Rochelle was also in the Olympics. So then we both got to be on the poster together. And then I had like gone to it was when my family was still living in Fallbrook. They were doing like a fundraiser thing, and I went, and all the girls were like starstruck, and I was like, I'm only like 4 years older. And then something else happened. Oh, at Penn State, there's a wall in like the training center. It's like a rugby wall, but it's also where all the athletes like go through there. And my name and like Olympian and like face was put there, and that was really cool. But besides that, there's like not been. I'm very like
pretty low key,
Yeah.
keeping it under the radar.
Have you ever been like recognized out in public? That's nice.
Yeah, it is, especially because I'm like I said, I'm a shy person. Like if I'm not friends with you or something like that, so I wouldn't enjoy being recognized or whatever like that. But yeah, like I said, there's only been a couple times where people are like, "Oh, are you an Olympian?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And they're like, "Cool." But yeah.
Yeah, I went there. I did that thing.
Ironically enough, we know a guy who we did an episode with him. His name is Terrence, who after doing an episode of this podcast got recognized in the Whole Foods by his house, not for being like a famous running coach, but he was like, they're like, "Oh, you were the guy that's on that podcast."
That's so cool.
Yeah, so
That's
sorry
good for
if
the
some people.
podcast.
Yeah, so sorry if this blows up the spot. I hope.
Somebody sitting next to you in class next week and is like, "Hey."
Yeah, just don't hang out with any local cyclists. And
Yeah, you'll be good. It is the local cycling scene that'll get you recognized, I guess. Yeah.
so if a dude with
One
shaved
day I'll
legs-
make my way in there.
Yeah, why?
We'll help you.
Why?
All right. Why cycling?
Yeah,
I don't know.
You should do track.
Seems fun.
you should do track.
I hate running.
No. Track cycling.
Oh, track cycling.
You'd be good at track cycling, I feel like, too.
Okay.
You could
Do
go from
need,
one
like,
national
good
team.
quads for that?
Good quads?
I feel like
big quads, like, don't you know?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like if you
leg muscle.
are an Olympic athlete in rugby, you probably are plenty strong.
What do you clean? What's your power clean? Do you do
Oh, we
cleans?
don't really-
Do you deadlift?
Not necessarily.
Squat?
Let the woman finish.
I'm not very strong. And we also will only like really like lift heavy kind of like in preseason and then like sporadically like throughout the season.
Smart.
So I don't necessarily like, I'm not like moving tin out there. It's mainly just for like maintaining, like once you like have your weight and your, you know, whatever. I actually lifted more when I was at Penn State, so like 6 years ago now, than I do now because like we run so much. Whereas then I was like mainly playing 15, so I needed a bit more size on me and stuff. But yeah.
6 foot, 280.
just like the Wikipedia page said.
Yeah.
Not fooling anyone.
You should try it. You could pivot from one national team to another.
nice.
Yeah. Straight to track cycling.
All right.
The US
LA 2028 track cycling.
the US cycling program loves sniping people from other sports.
Oh, really?
That's true, yeah.
Our best men's track sprinter was a BMX racer. And Kelsey Mitchell, who did
Canadian national team.
and won a gold medal.
Sprinter, yeah.
She was a soccer player all the way up until like 2 years before she won a gold medal. So
What did she? What was? I feel like I heard about someone that just started cycling winning a medal.
it's probably Kelsey
Probably
Mitchell.
her. That was the last Olympics, though.
Yeah. She won in
I think she
Tokyo.
struggled this Olympics.
Oh, you're thinking of Kristen Faulkner, who won the road race this year.
Oh, okay.
Who was like
yeah, I think so.
4 years ago, she was riding her bike in Central Park.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually,
Yeah, she won the women's road race this year.
Oh, okay.
Could be you.
That's a cool story. Mm-hmm. Yeah. We'll get you certified on the track.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like this is a good place to stop.
Yeah. I mean, do you have anything that you want to plug?
Yeah.
Do you have any community stuff that you want to plug? Like, this is your opportunity to tell people.
Ask for a loafer
what's up.
sponsorship.
Yeah.
Well,
you really
I
should ask for it.
definitely want a loafer sponsorship.
Start naming brands.
I don't even really know the brands of loafers. Loro Piana.
Good answer.
Also, I'm obsessed with coconut water.
So you want a coconut
I
water
want-
sponsorship.
Yeah, and I really only like it if it has pulp in it as well. And Sprouts has like the best one, but also the Harvest coconut water is really good. I think those are two things that I would just be
That would
stoked
be your
with.
sponsorship package, and you'd
Yeah.
be cool with it.
Loafers and coconut water. What more
Seems
could
like
you
two
want?
pretty solid things, honestly. Yeah. Anybody you want to thank for getting you to this point?
Lots of people. Definitely, obviously, my mom and dad. They support me more than like I could ever express. And then my high school club or my club that I played with, Fallbrook Girls Rugby Club, and my coaches Craig and Marin Pinnell. They were the ones that like really instilled like loving the game. And I mean, I just haven't lost that since. And so, I mean, I'm just so grateful that it all started with that, and it's like really pushed me through so much. And yeah, there's other people that know who they are.
You know who you are.
Yeah. But yeah, got plenty of friends that pushed me along the way.
All right. Well, shout out to you guys for bringing home the bronze this year for
Thank you.
Team
Thank you.
USA. And thank you for coming down and being on the show. We appreciate your time, and yeah, good combos.
Yeah, it was
And I'm looking
great.
forward to 2028.
Yeah, we'll see
whatever
you
you have in store.
We'll see you in LA.
Yeah. Cycling on the track.
All right.
Hit it.